Hey Splinter fam, it's been a while but we got an amazing video for you guys. We all know how annoying Quora is to play against, but we're going to give you 3 abilities that's going to nerf her so badly and definitely stop her from getting bloodlust and killing your whole team. We will also be telling you some monsters that have these abilities, as there's no point telling you abilities without giving you some recommended cards to destroy her and definitely get you some more bullying potential against her. But before we get into it, like the video if you hate Quora and comment below your go-to cards to defeat her. And subscribe, and let's get into the video. Before we get into our top 3, we're going to give you an honourable mention like always, and for this ability it's going to be stun. And the only reason it's not in the top 3 is because Quora is such a pain that she gets immune, so she can literally stop any negative effects from happening to her, and stun is one of them. The thing with stun is so great for so many reasons, as it makes you literally skip a turn. So no matter what, it won't attack, it won't activate bloodlust. Don't activate attack or bloodlust, that's for Quora, but for any monster in general, it'll skip their turn. So trample, anything, it just stops so many things. It's so great. But like I kind of just teased out a little bit with Quora, with stun you can stop her bloodlust, her healing, her attacking, her everything. You can literally stop her in her tracks, and she's just sitting there getting damaged by your team over and over again, and she's just a sitting duck really at that point. One of Quora's key features is the healing, to keep her staying alive and getting more bloodlust and getting stronger, and that's when you see her start having like 13 damage and like 14 speed, and it gets pretty silly her stats at some point. But stun stops it straight away, and it might not hit the first turn, but the second turn it'll be great. And eventually your team can get rid of her. It can finally defeat the annoying card within the game. But the issue with stun, sometimes it can miss. It's a 50% chance of it actually hitting, and if your monster is a ranged monster for example, you got a whole other, ranged or melee monster, you got another instance of it could just miss in general. So it can miss, or the stun might not even activate. So that's why it's an honourable mention, because there's so many stipulations that can stop it from working on Quora, and in reality Quora gets immune. So once it gets to level 3 and basically in silver and up, Quora can have immune. Obviously some people might not have that ability yet, because it's really hard to pack a Quora and get it to the right level. But in my list I want to make sure that you guys are fully protected against her. So that's why it's an honourable mention, because the immune basically stops you from stunning her. And in reality the immune stops so many ways to stop her, and it's kind of annoying. And I didn't want to put affliction as an honourable mention, but affliction only stops one factor in her, which is the healing, and even that immune stops it, and affliction is 50% as well. So out of the two 50% abilities, I went with stun because it stops her healing and it also stops her bloodlust, and it stops her completely. But like I said, it only works in bronze, and the minute you go in silver and up, stun's not really going to help you in any way, shape or form. But before we get into top 3, let's give you some great monsters that you can use to stun, such as Watercaller in blue. It's an amazing card because it gets to stun straight away and you don't need to level it up, and it's a pretty speedy card and it's magic, so it's never going to miss, and the only thing you got to worry about is the 50% chance if stun's actually activating. The second one's going to be Revealer in Death, as just like Watercaller, it's a magic card, so you don't have to worry about missing so much. Obviously if you play the Dragon Summoner that gives it Quora phase, that's a factor that you can't really predict. But at the same time, Revealer and Watercaller are your best 2 go-to options to get the stun out on her. And the third one's going to be Runeslinger, because Runeslinger has stun, and all these cards have it at bronze. So these cards are great options in bronze league, and obviously in silver league you might be able to get away with it if the person's not leveled up the card, but at the end of the day we can't predict that. And in my mind these are great options in bronze league, and you should definitely go get them cards if you've not got them already. But let's get into these top 3. Now let's get into our top 3 abilities, starting off with Giant Killer. And basically Giant Killer does double damage to any monster you hit, so you want a monster with lots of attack damage. This ability is amazing as you can kind of 2-hit her. We have one monster that we're going to suggest to you guys that could definitely 1-hit her, but at the same time you're going to be 2-hitting her most likely, and a lot of cards have this ability in the backline, so you definitely got more chance of it going off. But one of the reasons why you want to be using this ability, like I just teased, you could definitely 1-hit kill her or 2-hit kill her. And for me that's a great asset within the game, because she's so annoying, and once she gets her bloodlust off it's so hard to deal with her. And even if she gets her bloodlust off, Giant Killer could definitely still kill her down the line, because Bloodlust only gives her 1 more health, and in reality she don't get any shields, so any attack damage, melee, range, magic, the giant killer is going to kill her out eventually. And thing is, if you got a 3 damage monster, now it's doing 6, and 6 damage over a course of like a game, Quora can't hack it and she eventually will die. But the thing is, you do need a strong monster to one hit kill her. It's a little bit of like a tricky task, but at the same time it's doable. It's definitely not something you can do very often, but it is doable. But I feel definitely down the line, as we get more cards within the game, more monsters will have giant killer, and I definitely feel later down the line the team will definitely try to nerf Quora by giving us some more monsters with giant killer that have high attack damage. And for me, I'm hoping it's magic, because magic's the only ability that doesn't miss, and it's going to be the only way to deal with her. It's just, she's such a pain and so hard to deal with that we're going to need some magic to deal with it, and that, pun intended. The only way Quora can deal with the giant killer hits is healing. And in reality, if you've got one monster that's doing all the damage, you could definitely have another monster somehow nerfing our healing. But like we said in our previous point, the healing is going to be so hard to kind of stop with the immunity later down the line. So you kind of want all your team to be focusing her if you can. And giant killer is a good way to start off the killing, because if she gets hit with 6 or 8 damage, it's not going to take you long for her to die, because at max she gets 13 life and at the beginning she gets 11. So you can definitely get rid of her within 2 hits, and in reality you can survive 2 hits from a Quora, because after that she's definitely getting her bloodlust and she's definitely getting basketball stat numbers, and it's going to be so hard to get rid of her by then. Some of the suggested cards we're going to go with is the Darjin Infini. I definitely said that name wrong, but he gets giant killer and he's a magic card, and he's definitely a great card as well. And considering he's in red definitely has some great cards to kind of tank out the Quora from killing them, like Grom for example, and it's a great choice to go with. Another one's going to be Ra. Ra's going to be a tricky one because she had the scatter shot, or he had the scatter shot, and the double attack is going to be great, and the giant killer just makes it so much better. And there is a chance, like a very slim chance, that the scatter shot might hit Quora twice and then she's dead in 1 hit, but scatter shot's random and I'm definitely not going to bank on the scatter shot hitting her twice. Our last one on the list is going to be Desert Dragon, and I teased out one monster that can actually 1-hit kill her, and Desert Dragon is that card. But the problem is Desert Dragon might not be able to tank her attacks for too long, and especially if it's the main tank, it's got to take all the damage from the rest of the team. It might not survive to be able to get it to hit out in general. So for me, in rule types where it can attack from like the backline, like the opportunity one or the sneak one, or the melee can attack from anywhere, it can definitely do well, and it can definitely 1-hit kill Quora with giant killer. And currently in the game, he's the only card with the only potential to 1-hit kill her. And for me, if you can kill Quora straight away, you don't have to worry about bloodlust. You don't have to worry about her killing your whole team. But this is number 3 ability on our list, and the other 2 are so much more powerful. So let's get into the rest of them. Now we're getting into some of the strongest abilities to get rid of her, and for number 2, it's going to be Recharge. I know not a lot of people like this ability, but for Quora, we need some powerful abilities, and we may have to wait a turn to kill her. But if you don't know what Recharge does, it does ×3 damage, and that's a lot. Like, we had Giant Killer that did ×2, but Recharge does ×3, but we do have to wait 1 turn. It's kind of like Solar Power and Hyper Beam in Pokemon, where we have to like firm a turn of not attacking to be able to get such a powerful move out. But with Recharge, it's the easiest way and possibly the only way to 1-hit kill her and get her straight out of the game. And like I said in the previous point, if we can get rid of her straight away before any bloodlust, any healing, any mayhem that she can cause, that's so great to win the game. And it can be so much easier to get around her. And yes, we may have to survive 1 turn and make sure that she don't get bloodlust in that 1 turn to be able to kill her. But at the end of the day, getting rid of Quora is the main focus, because she costs a lot of mana, and in reality, the team will definitely be centered around keeping her in the game. So if we can get rid of her straight away before any of the other abilities can keep her in the game, it's going to be so much more handier. We get to stop a problem before she becomes too overpowered. Like, we've seen some of the stats that Quora can get, especially when it comes to the Born Again rule type, where if she keeps killing people, it comes back, and they come back very weak, so she just kills them again. And considering she's got 2 types of attack, she can attack twice. It's basically a double attacker. Like, she has double strike, So in reality, if we can stop her before she starts causing any mayhem, we can survive the game and get more wins. And in reality, she's such a strong card, but there's definitely ways to get around her. And having recharge, maybe a little giant killer as well. Like, there's so many ways to deal with her, and she's not I'm not going to say she's not overpowered, but there's definitely ways to deal with her. And if we can predict it coming into it, like, if you see the wall type, are you not entertained? You're definitely going to predict her, especially if you see green, and if it's 99 mana, you know you're going to see her. So if you can plan ahead, get a recharge card out, we're going to suggest some later down in the video. But if you can get rid of her in one turn, she can't be overpowered, and then you're just going to sweep through the rest of the team and you're going to get an easy W. The only downside to this ability is you've got to wait a turn. So you've got to make sure your tank, if your tank's not the recharge card, because if your tank's the recharge card, you need that tank to stay alive, because if it somehow dies, then your recharge strategy is going out the window, and then Cora's just going to wipe out your whole team. So in reality, you got to wait a turn, so you got to plan for survive one turn and get that hit out. And definitely be ready for some random things to stop it from happening, because if your recharge card doesn't have immune, they could stun your recharge, and then the whole turn was wasted. Then you got to wait a whole other turn, then it takes 4 turns to actually get the hit you want out. So you got to plan ahead. I've said it a few times, you got to plan, predict, and get ready for the Quora, because if you're not ready for her, she's going to eat through your team, because she literally writes, it says it on the ability, I win if you don't prepare. So like, you thought Llama Cron was so annoying, Quora is such a pain. And in brawls, oh my god, in brawls when you don't have to worry about using the Soulbound Summoner or the wall type to be able to use her, you can use cards like Llama, you can use Obsidian, you can do so many different things to make her more overpowered, but recharge deletes her, takes her straight out of the game, and it's definitely a great ability to defeat her. As the game goes on and as Splinterlands brings out more cards, we could definitely predict that they're going to give us some more recharge cards. And like I said before, I definitely feel that they're going to power creep cards to defeat Quora and give us a few more options. I definitely feel like a recharge card down the line is going to be it. And we never know, we may get an ability that allows recharge to attack straight away and don't have to wait. And if we do, Quora is definitely going to be nerfed in that regard. But some of the suggested monsters is definitely going to be Uriel. Uriel is going to be a great option because you can use Grandmaster Wraith to make sure that her magic attack doesn't sweep behind the shields, and it's going to take a lot longer to kill Uriel. And when Uriel hits her, she's gone. She's deleted straight out of the game. And then the rest of your team can just delete the rest of the other team, and then it's an easy W for you. Another card is definitely probably the best card to delete Quora, and I could have put this card in Giant Killer as well, but I wanted to save it for here. But it's going to be the Shaman that we got in Rift Watchers, because this card has Recharge and Giant Killer. So it is deleting Quora no matter what happens. It probably has the most damage that's coming out after one turn of rating. And in reality, Quora can just die so quickly, and it's in green. So if you do have the mirror match where you only have green versus green, the Shaman is definitely going to be your best option to get rid of her. And in reality, it sits in the backline, so it's a little bit more protected than Uriel, so it's going to be one of the better options in the game. Another one's going to be the Gobson Bomber, but I'm going to add another caveat to it and play the Salon card, which if you don't already know, I do not like this summoner, but when it comes to the Gobson Bomber, it's going to give it 1 more damage, and 1 more damage equals ×3, which is going to be so much better. And even though it's a range card, there's a possibility it could miss, but in reality, we're just trying to delete her in 1 turn, well 2 turns because it's recharged, but we're trying to get rid of her as quick as possible and in 1 hit, and he's another option in the game that can 1-hit kill her. And I'm pretty sure right now there are only 3 options that can do it right now, and as time goes on we're going to have more options, but for now these are the monsters that you can use to get rid of Quora straight away. But this is only the second best ability we have. We still have number 1. Let's get into it. We talked about some amazing abilities that can get rid of Quora, but now we're going to talk about the best one, number 1, and that's going to be Dispel. And basically what it does is take away all positive effects. So if Quora does get the Bloodlust out, forget about that. She's got like 13 damage and 16 speed, forget about that. But we're going to break down all the reasons why this is the best ability to destroy her. We teased it a little bit, but it takes away all the positive effects and all the buffs and all the everything that she can get. So Bloodlust, it goes away. Obsidian giving the +1 magic, it goes away. Anything you can think of, it just goes away. And it's the best way to kind of like sort out Quora. And the thing is, you can have that in the backline, and you can have a giant killer as well, and you can have a recharge card. You can have all these abilities all together, and Dispel's the cherry on the cake. And the reason for that is because it allows you to recover. If Quora has already got through a couple of your monsters already, got a little bit of blood dust, or worse, she has like 13 damage and 14 speed, it goes away. She goes back to basic. She literally goes back to her original stats, and it's so good. The thing with blood dust is so overpowered, so if you could take away all the bonuses that she got from it, it's so great, and you don't have to worry about so much. You take away the health, then she's just sitting there back to her original self. Like she was in Super Saiyan 4 form, and now she's back to her original base form. Like what? Like it's such a great ability, and I feel like it's so underrated, and not a lot of people use it. And for Quora, it's definitely going to be one of the best ones. And a few monsters have it as well, not many, but like most of the monsters that do, they're in the backline. So you can have all your other like ways of destroying her or staying alive before she destroys your team. And it's a great like cherry on top of your team. The only thing the spell doesn't do is take away her healing, and in reality with immune, there's no way to stop her from healing. So the best way you can do it is just killing her and stopping her from having so many stats. And the spell is definitely going to be the only way to take away that bloodlust. The thing with Quora is the stats that she can get, and the minute she starts rolling your team out, she's going to have too many abilities, too much stats, and the spell is just going to take it away. It's just vanished, boom, destroyed. And then Quora's gone. It's just a great way to deal with her. And the thing is, all the other abilities that we said, recharge, you need to wait a turn. Giant killer, like some of the cards don't necessarily one hit kill her, so she can have a chance to get through your whole team. And stun, the minute you're out of bronze, it don't work. All these things are RNG. Dispel works from the minute you get into bronze all the way up to diamond. And it's so great, and it's pretty much the only foolproof plan, foolproof ability that can actually destroy Quora. You know, minus recharge, one hit killing her, but there's not many monsters that can really do that too well. But some of the monsters I suggest like using would definitely be the Veneries, which starting off with Veneri Ravesmith, because it doesn't just give you Dispel, it gives you shields. So you see her melee damage for Quora, it protects you like one hit from that, and it definitely will make you survive one more turn from the bloodlust. And the next one is definitely going to be the go-to Dispel card, which is Veneri Smellspiff, because it gets Dispel straight away, straight at level 1. You don't need to level it up at all, it gets Dispel straight away, and it's a neutral card, so you can play with any combination of Splinter. So it's definitely going to be the go-to Dispel card. The last one, which is definitely going to be the hardest card to kind of pull out, is going to be Lazar Corretto. I've definitely butchered that name up, but it's so powerful. It's the legendary Galactus card, and it's going to be the only way to really like destroy Quora in so many different ways. But in reality, it's going to be the hardest card to kind of get, because you need to get it from a Galactus pack. In reality, you could play her in the same rule types you could play Quora, because obviously they're both Galactus cards. But I'd rather go for the other two, because the other two are a lot more easier for you to pull out and to make a team to defeat Quora with, other than just one hope card, because if you're relying on one card to defeat Quora, it could just get deleted, it could disappear from so many different reasons, opportunity, stun, things like that, because this card don't have immune like Quora, so it's not going to be immune from pesky abilities like stun, affliction, or you don't necessarily have healing. So but yeah, it's definitely going to be another option, but it's not going to be better than the other two. I hope you guys have learned a bunch of ways to defeat Quora, as she's such an annoying card within Splinterlands, and now you guys can bully her, just like she's been bullying us for so long. But that's it from us for today. But before we go, like the video if you don't like Quora, and comment below your go-to cards to defeat her, and subscribe for more play-to-earn content, and remember, be a shark in this world, not a whale, and we're going to see you guys next time.